everybody, I'm Jenny with We Don't Waste. I am an intern from Johnson & Wales University, and today we are going to be making a pizza from a recipe from our friends at Cooking Matters. You should check out their website. We are making a whole wheat pizza with items that are often recovered from We Don't Waste. And here are the ingredients for the pizza dough. We have a cup of warm water, a package of dry active yeast, which is equivalent to 2.5 teaspoons, 1.5 cups of whole wheat flour, 2 tablespoons of canola oil or olive oil, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. Okay, so we're going to start and mix our active dry yeast into a large bowl with a cup of water. I have a little bit of extra water here in case the dough is too dry. And then we're also going to mix in our whole wheat flour. And we're going to mix it in until it's well mixed. And you want warm water for the yeast to bloom. And it should be about 110 to 120 degrees. You can usually get that with your tap on your sink. So once that's pretty well mixed, doesn't have to be completely mixed in. And I think I'm going to need extra water, so good thing we have it. And it'll look a bit like this. Then we're going to add oil. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty. We're going to mix this in. Then we're going to add our regular flour, all-purpose flour. Okay, and so we're going to add just a little bit more water, just a little bit at a time, because you don't need it too wet, but you want to incorporate everything. I'm going to add some salt in too. Just going to keep going until it's all one large dough ball. Once it all starts to come together, you can turn it out onto a table and start kneading. Okay, so now we're going to knead the ball of dough, and it's going to become more consistent because you can kind of tell the different textures of flour. So we're just going to knead it for about 5 minutes, and you want to push and fold it over. Be kind of strong with it. All right, so I've been doing this for about 5 minutes. And again, to knead, you push down and forward, and then fold it over, and push again. Fold and push. So now we're going to let the dough prove, which is when the yeast proves that it's working. That's why it's called proving. And we're going to spray some oil. If you don't have spray oil, just use a little bit of whatever oil you got. Just want it to not stick to the bowl. We're going to cover it with some plastic wrap, but you can also use like a damp paper towel or a clean kitchen towel, cloth towel you got. Just want to protect it a little bit from the environment. So we're going to set this aside for a half hour to an hour, and it'll about double in size, just about, and then we'll divide it into two. But in the meantime, we're going to get started on our toppings. For our toppings, we're going to use 1 large onion, a medium green bell pepper, and a medium red bell pepper, some button mushrooms, about 8 ounces, 2 medium tomatoes, about 6 ounces of mozzarella, 1 tablespoon of canola oil, 1/4 teaspoon of dried basil, 1/4 teaspoon of dried oregano, and an 8-ounce can. So we're going to begin by chopping our ingredients. We're going to start with the peppers and just chop them up into pretty even pieces. We're using onions and peppers and mushrooms, but if you have any vegetables that you prefer on your pizza, you can certainly use those or any ingredients you have in the house. We're gonna slice our mushrooms. Next we have some tomatoes. And we are saving our scraps and going to compost them or use them in a different recipe, whichever applies best. All right, next we're going to cut up our onion. We're going to cut vertically through our onion to dice it into small pieces. And then horizontally. And be careful of your fingers. Then do the same with the other half. All right, first we're gonna make our sauce. We have tomato sauce, just plain tomato sauce. It's best to use as little, no salt added if possible, just to reduce your salt. And we're gonna add in the oregano and basil and just mix it up, get the seasonings wet. Now we have all of our chopped veggies. We're going to saute them a little bit and then let them drain to reduce the water. You don't have to cook them, but it helps just reduce the water content and prevent the pizza from getting. So we're going to add our oil to the pan, then add our onions, peppers, and mushrooms. And we'll add our tomatoes later when we're draining. So we're going to saute this for about 3 minutes and then we're going to let it drain because we want to just cook them a little bit, add a little bit of flavor, and then get rid of some of the water. So we're going to just drain these, reduce the water. We've added our tomatoes and we're going to let these drain. So our dough has risen a good amount. It's been about a half hour, a little bit more. And we're just going to divide it in two. I've got a bench scraper, but if you just have just a sharp knife, use that. It's perfect. We're going to divide this in two because it makes two pizza recipes. I'm going to set it aside, knead it for just a few more minutes. So we've been kneading these for a few minutes each, and they're really elastic. And so we're going to add just a little bit of flour. Give them a little bit of flour. And start to kind of shape it into whatever pan you have. If you have a circle pizza pan, use that. We have a rectangle, so I'm going to try and make it a rectangle. I'm just going to want to start and make it go around in a circle. Stretching it slowly. You want to be gentle because you don't want to start too many holes. And I'm going to do this underneath so that my hands are like this and just slowly spread it apart. Be really gentle, don't want to make any holes. This is a really good activity for kids too, to get them interested in cooking and nutrition in their food. You need a little flour sometimes to help spread it along, make it a little bit smoother. So we're going to spray our pan with some cooking spray. And again, if you don't have cooking spray, you can just coat it with some oil, a thin layer of oil. We're going to put our pizza on and close any holes that you might have. So I'm going to put some sauce on it. Make sure you have a good thin layer. Don't want it too thick, you just want it covered. Okay, now we're going to add some cheese. Alright, we're going to spread a little bit, about half your cheese onto your pizza because this recipe makes two. So if you don't want to make two, you can easily half the ingredients and you freeze the other half of your dough and make it some other time. So we're using a reduced fat mozzarella, but you can use whatever cheese you want. That'll be good for melting. Sometimes I like to add a little cheddar and a little Parmesan just to have a nice blend. So we're going to cook this for 10 minutes at 450 degrees. And then we're going to take it out and add the veggies and cook it for 5 to 10 minutes more. So you can also make a calzone with your pizza dough. So you kind of do it the same way, just spread and try not to poke a hole in it. So we're gonna oil up the pan. And then we're gonna fill half of it. So we're going to add just a little bit of sauce. You want to leave yourself some room on the sides, like it had a crust, so that we can fold it over and crimp it a bit. We're going to add some cheese. And add our vegetables that have been draining. And we pull the rest of our calzone over. If you've got any holes, kind of press them shut, crimp them a little bit. We are gonna fold and seal. So I'm just folding over and pushing down to make sure you have both the bottom and the top, and fold and press to twist that, and you can cut this off. Just make sure it's all sealed. Ideally, no holes, but if you do, it's not the end of the world, you know. A little sauce might leak out, a little moisture might leak out, it'll be fine. So we're gonna take this out and we're gonna add our veggies. So it's been cooking for about 10 minutes. We're gonna add our veggies that have been draining. We're gonna spread them around. We're gonna add a little bit of extra cheese on top. All right. And back in for 5 to 10 more minutes. We're gonna put our calzone in for 6 minutes at 450. All right, let's take our pizzas out. All right, our calzone has been cooking for 6 minutes. We're gonna take it out, flip it, and let it cook for 6 more minutes. So we're gonna flip it and let it cook again. So today we've made our own pizza dough, but you can buy pre-made dough from the grocery store or a pizzeria and make little mini pizzas with kids using English muffins or bagels. All right, so our calzone has been cooking for 6 more minutes. Since we had a little hole, there was a little bit of spillage, but it's all good. It'll be tasting good. Thanks for cooking with We Don't Waste, and a special thanks to our friends at Cooking Matters for their wonderful recipe. Check out our website at wedon'twaste.org and check out our YouTube channel for more recipes and videos.